Hi, it's Mark from Top Local. We're here with Bernie Pawlik, Pawlik Automotive in Vancouver, Vancouver's best auto service experience. 22-time winners of Best Auto Repair in Vancouver as voted by their customers. That's important because it's not just some guys giving it to them, it's their customers saying they're the best. And we're talking cars. How you doing, Bernie?
Good. Very good.
So 2006 Toyota Prius, the follow-on episode. Oh my God, the high voltage battery had a problem. What was going on with this vehicle?
Yeah. So last podcast, we talked about the inverter replacement and how there was a warning light left on the dash. We again scanned the vehicle computer and found a code for the high voltage battery pack. Not really surprised considering the vehicle had sat for a year. It already had some inverter issues previously. And who knows really, the full extent of what the car needed. And, the inverter replacement was a step along the journey of getting the car back into shape. So not really surprised when we found some issues with the high voltage battery pack.
So what test did you do?
So the first test, of course, is a scan tool will do an awful lot to give information on these vehicles. So we connected our scan tool. Initially, there was a code that, and I can't remember the number because I didn't write it down, but it was basically a generic high voltage battery failure. Cleared the code because I thought we want to see something more precise. So we cleared the code, drove it for a while, no more light. And then the light came back on. And then we actually got some better information. It said cell block 8 becomes weak, which was a good bit of information because then we knew the issue was in cell block 8. So I'm going to show some pictures of just what we can see on our diagnostic tools and just a good bit of information. So there's our Prius once again. You saw this shot in our last podcast. This is the code that we got, P3018, battery block 8 becomes weak. And road testing it, our scan tool, we're able to actually put it into graphing mode. There's 14 battery blocks. We can actually look at all of them and see the voltage fluctuation. Now, these voltages change in these battery blocks depending on, what the condition is, whether you're going up a hill or down a hill, whether it's regenerative braking. Regenerative braking, the voltage will go up because it's charging the battery. When you're going up a hill, of course, and you're really giving it, it's going to drop the voltage down because it's taking power away. But being a hybrid, only a certain amount of voltage fluctuation will occur and energy taken out of the battery pack or given to the battery pack, and the internal combustion engine and computers regulate all of that. But the key is consistency between the battery blocks. And you can see here, I put red arrows. Battery block V01. This battery is in good shape and kind of represents what the other ones were doing. You can see a voltage fluctuation 17.26 to 16.79. And if you look at the battery block 8, which had the problem fault, you can see it goes to 17.5, a little higher, but much lower, 15.16 volts. And the waveform should be pretty much the same between battery blocks. And you can see sort of in this area here, a change. And again, this isn't very much. It looks like a lot, but we're dealing with a smaller mountain range, so to speak, than this one here. So, there was a change, but different voltage range. I've got one more picture here too that has even a little more fluctuation. So we've got high of almost 9 to 14.7. So again, major fluctuations in this battery pack and much less in the other. Basically, it verifies there's a problem in this battery block here. This is all inside the battery pack. This is the kind of data and information that's available. Of course, it takes a while to learn how to read all this stuff, but it's there if you look for it on a good scan tool.
So armed with that information, what did you do next?
We knew, of course, the problem was in the battery pack. Just that code alone was enough to say so, but we like to verify things and get some details. There's really a few options, and I present them to the client. So we can get a brand new battery from Toyota. That's the best option. We could get a used battery. Not a bad option, but of course, used is used. And at 2006, the best we could probably get is a battery pack that's a little over 10 years old, which is getting old. There are some aftermarket companies that rebuild batteries. The word on the street, we've never used one. The word on the street is that they work and they're often problematic, and you'll probably have some issues going on in a couple of years, which they are cheaper than a Toyota battery, but not enough, I think, to justify the cost. Then, of course, there's the option of actually taking the battery pack apart and repairing the cell blocks, which is complicated, time-consuming, doable, and cheaper, but not as reliable. You never know when the next cell block is going to go bad. Those were the options we presented to the client.
So lots of pros and cons to all of the options. What did the client do in the end?
She chose to do the new battery from Toyota, which made sense. And I don't like to steer people in a certain direction, but I do like to provide some expert advice. And her, choosing to have put a brand new inverter in, it would be kind of silly to put a used battery or a lesser quality replacement option. Having that new inverter and a new battery, it basically, you can never predict the future of what's going to happen with a car, but based on odds and what normally happens, there's probably going to be nothing that goes wrong or very little that goes wrong with this vehicle, especially the hybrid system, for the next 10 years if you go with a new battery. So she opted to do that. It wasn't cheap, but that's kind of the way we went. I got some pictures of the inside of the battery just to show some, it's just interesting stuff to look at if you ever want to see what goes on the inside of the battery. So this is the new Toyota battery pack. There's a number of items, wires, cables, the computer, hybrid computer, contactors, connectors, a number of items that need to be transferred from old battery pack to the new one. The power cables that go to the inverter bolt in right here. This is what it looks like in the back of the vehicle with the hybrid battery out. These are the main power cables that connect up to the inverter, and the battery pack sits in this area back here. And that's the fuel tank in this area here.
That's kind of towards where the back seat is.
Yeah, it's under the back seat.
This is a nickel metal hydride battery.
It is a nickel metal hydride battery, yeah. This is what the battery looks like when you take the cover off. So this is what what's inside the battery pack. It's not just a big lob of battery, but individual cells connected together to form blocks. And a block in this case is actually 2 batteries put together. That, at least on the scan tool, when it says block 1, it'll be, and I'm not sure, actually I should know this stuff, but number 1 is on one end of the battery going all the way to 14. And so this is the other interesting thing that happens to a lot of these batteries. They end up getting corrosion on the bus bars. They're connected together to some copper bus bars. This, you can see all this ugly greenness. None of this and corrosion should be there. I've got a slightly closer shot as well. Again, you can see some of the festering and corrosion. And so, full disclosure, I mean, you can replace these bus bars. You can clean these up. That may have actually solved her problem, but it's time consuming. There's no guarantee that after we would have done all this work and it would have been a fair chunk of money that would have solved her problem. So again, in anything car repair related, you got to kind of evaluate what's the time worth, what are you charging the client, and what results are they going to get in the end. And with a brand new battery pack from Toyota, it's 100% guaranteed to work. So whereas this is, it might work and it might not. And, you know, if you have a backyard type of operation, you want to service it, certainly something you could do, something I might fix up myself if I had my own car for sure. But, you know, I can afford the time and not charge myself money. So again, it's a choice.
Not something you can just spray contact cleaner on and fix up though.
No, exactly. Definitely not. You can buy these bus bars. I have sources of them. You can probably even buy them on the internet. It's a common issue and common repair. It's a very distinct possibility. That might be why that code was there, but there's still a lot of, it could be the battery block is bad. And after 14 years and sitting is not good for these batteries. Leaving them sitting, you know, can cause problems, which brings me to the point. I know we've talked about it, you know, especially with these pandemic times, you may have a hybrid car that's sitting around. Don't leave it sitting, start it up, run it, move it around, get some juice flowing in and out of the battery. It's very, very important. Otherwise, you'll probably be faced with replacing this. And Prius batteries are the cheapest ones around. The other hybrids, they just go up a lot from there.
So overall, the inverter was an expensive repair. The battery was not an inexpensive repair. A lot of money spent on this for a 2006. Was it worth it?
Well, I think so. I mean, the mileage on this car wasn't extremely high. And, you know, it's always a choice, you know, in fixing cars. I mean, yeah, the amount of money that was put into this probably certainly exceeded the value of the car. But now there's a perfectly good functioning car. And it's a car that hasn't been sent to the junkyard. A lot of times we just think of our own personal cash outlay. But, you know, when you think about it in a broader sense, you know, it's a car that's still usable. It's probably got at least 10 years of good life left in it, without a lot of huge expense. And that's an important thing. And it's an individual choice for people. I've had people have these strange formulas where, oh, that repair is half the value of the replacement cost of the vehicle, so I'm not going to do it. I'm going, I don't know. You just got to make your choice.
So there you go. If you need some service on your Prius, keep it running, or any hybrid, call the experts in Vancouver. Pawlik Automotive, you can reach them at 604-327-7112 to book your appointment. They will check your car out. They will test it. They will repair it the best way possible according to your instructions. Check out the website, pawlikautomotive.com, or the YouTube channel, Pawlik Auto Repair. Hundreds of videos, articles, all makes and models of vehicles, all kinds of repairs. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Leave us a review. Thanks, Bernie.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks for watching.